welcome back to the Weedly News. Sorry I missed you all last week. Was feeling a little under the weather, so took a little hiatus just to get to feeling better, but we got you covered this week. So this episode of the Weedly News, we're going to dive into some interesting laws, regulations, and things happening in different states across the nation that have legalized cannabis. So first thing we're going to start with is in Maine. So Maine actually just passed a law recently that says employers cannot discriminate employees that use cannabis outside of work during non-business hours. So, and another thing too along with that is they can't discriminate against employees applying for jobs at a workplace. If they come back with THC in their system, they can't discriminate them against that. So it's really interesting and something that I think will continue to develop across different states that have legalized cannabis. I know here in Colorado some employers actually during a drug test won't actually take into account THC in people's systems just because it's legal here and they know people are utilizing it. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops over time. So the second thing we're going to touch on is in the state of California, specifically in San Francisco. District Attorney George Gasson actually touched on this topic a little bit further, and we'll have a direct quote from him here in a sec. But what essentially is happening in San Francisco is since 1975, anyone that has received a marijuana misdemeanor, that will be removed from their records. The second thing that they're going to look at is also people that have marijuana felonies. Reevaluate those cases, and then if it's seen fit, take that marijuana felony and then move it to a marijuana misdemeanor. In a statement from George Gasson, he stated, "We want to address the wrongs that were caused by the failures of the war on drugs. For many years in this country, and begin to fix some of the harm that was done not only to the entire nation, but specifically to the communities of color." So what's interesting about this, like the Maine Law, is to see if it continues to happen in other states that have legalized cannabis. We'll definitely keep you posted if we hear more on this one. This is a really interesting development, and I think will be quite remarkable if other states look into this as well. The third thing we're going to touch on today is in Vermont. Vermont would just legalize cannabis, but it's not exactly what you think. It was done without voters, so it was done through legislation, which is the first state to do that. But the catch is, there's no legal sales of cannabis in the state of Vermont. You're legally allowed to have an ounce, up to an ounce on you for anyone that's 21 or older, and you're allowed to have 4 mature plants growing on your property. So no sales of cannabis, but you can have it on your person if you're 21 or older, up to an ounce. So we'll see if they continue to push that envelope and start opening up dispensaries there in Vermont. But at this time, they're just sticking to, hey, you can have it and you can grow some plant. So, hey, a little bit of a win for Vermont. We'll see how it goes from there. The fourth and final thing is actually happening here in Colorado. On Monday in Denver, the first social cannabis license was distributed out to a coffee shop in Denver. So what that means is patrons 21 plus can bring in vape products as well as edibles and consume them there at the coffee shop indoors. There's no smoking allowed within the coffee shop due to state laws, but for the time being, it's interesting to see that this move has happened. We'll continue to see if other licenses are given out as well. And if it just stays in Denver, if it expands out. Definitely really excited about this one. I'm curious to see where it goes, so we'll keep you posted as we learn more. So that wraps up this episode of the Weedly News. Thanks again for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe below. Check out some of our other videos. We have the Dirt Chronicles with our head grower here, Andy. So take a look at that video. It's really great. He talks about clones in that episode. We're going to be filming some more coming up here soon, so stay tuned for that. And then also check out our other social media channels. Links are below. We got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We always post new updates, happenings going on there, so feel free to subscribe to those as well. But until then, have an awesome rest of your day, a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next week. We'll talk to you soon.